I'm excited this year. But so first thing is, though, we have some pretty major schedule changes this year's schedule from the previous years. The first one being they moved the first Atlanta race to the second week of the season this year to follow Daytona instead of kicking off the West Coast swing early.
Okay. Nice.
It's kind of idea behind it is it's races kind of similar to Daytona. So the idea is fans who tune into the 500 for the first time will and decide to give it a second try. It's something more closer similar to it than a big swing and shift like it has been in the past. They've also added Iowa to the schedule, which is a track that NASCAR's owned for like 20 years. Cup has never been there, but they're headed there for the first time this year in June, which would be exciting to see. New track on the schedule that a lot of these guys have never ran at. Some of the older guys may have ran there in the lower series, but for the most part, it's a pretty fresh experience for a lot of these guys. They've also
corn stalks throughout the track. Hopefully, they get that taken care of. Field of Dreams out there.
Oh yeah. Another thing is this is the 30th anniversary of the Brickyard in Indianapolis, and they're going back to the Oval after using the road course for the last 3 years. So that's going to be exciting to go back to how it should be. To me, I'm old school. The road course
traditional
for a purpose. It's traditional. Like it's the 30th anniversary. Should be exciting. The racing will probably be terrible because Cup cars have never been good on the Oval there at all. So it's then you throw in that due to the Olympics this year, the regular season finale is pushed back a week. So the regular season is no longer ending at Daytona this week, which kind of sucks because the craziness of last minute winner getting in is kind of gone, but due to like the timing of other races having set dates such as the Southern 500 on Labor Day weekend, it's that weekend every year. They've owned the date for 50 years now, or at least. So that's now the cutoff race instead of the opening race of the playoffs, which will still be exciting because of that race it's a very tough track to win at. So you have some guys that are just on a point bubble. It's a track that cause serious problems for them, which will be kind of exciting to see. Like, if you're fighting close and the guy you're fighting with, maybe one of those handful of guys is actually good at getting around the track that's too tough to tame. And then in the playoffs, due to that shift, they've now added the second Atlanta race and Watkins Glen to the playoffs and moved the Texas race out by me to March, which I'm ultimately a fan of. It's super hot here in August and September still, whereas March.
Yeah, it'd be nice weather in March.
Oh yeah, it should be a lot cooler. It should be like I think it's actually April is when it is. But yeah, so that should be exciting. Weather will be a lot nicer. I won't be sweating my ass off and dying in the heat like I was in April. That was miserable. But speaking of races I'm going to this year, I've got 3 races on deck this year. I'm going to be going down to COTA down in Austin in March, which will be exciting. Never been down there. I'm looking forward to that. Obviously, Texas, which is up by my house in the middle of April. Then in the fall, I'm going to make a trip up to Kansas City and go to the race up there, the playoff race up there, which
nice.
Oh yeah, I think that race puts on. I think it's one of the best races on the schedule right now. Throwing the playoffs, the intensity there should be a good time, And I kind of want to go somewhere new every year. It's kind of my goal, even though COTA is new, but it's like not an oval. So I want to try to go to a new oval every year. So that's all I can. So
right,
yeah,
right. So that makes
You're in a good spot for that, to jet around to some of those Midwestern races. Not too hard to shoot up through Oklahoma and into Kansas. So.
Oh yeah, so I'm excited for that. It's kind of in the middle of football season too, so it's like it'll give me like a break where I'm not going to Baton Rouge for a weekend, and like I've been doing a lot the last couple of years, heading down there a bunch.
Hey, you still got to come down to a game here.
No excuses. I'm coming down to a bunch. My mom is getting season tickets apparently, so I'll be down there.
Go.
Nice. Yeah, she's planning on doing that. I'm like, I don't know why you live 8 hours away, but you're doing this, so.
Hey, there you go. You mentioned the Kansas City one. Mm-hmm. Maybe you try out that Kansas barbecue and see what's better, Texas or Kansas.
Oh, that's on my list. So it's
there you go.
You know me. I love. I mean, you know me that you guys know me. I love barbecue, so that's definitely something I'm not going to pass up. I'm not going 8 hours up there not try their local delicacy. We do have 3 rookies this season, which will be kind of exciting to watch. Josh Berry is getting in the 4 car for Stewart Haas Racing. He's replacing Kevin Harvick, who retired, is now in the booth for Fox, which I think he is in the best place of the rookies because Rodney Childers is his crew chief, who's is regarded as one of the better guys in the garage, and he'd actually thought about retiring, but when they hired Barry for that car, he decided to, hey, I like this kid, I'll stick around with him and stuff. And he's somebody that I like. He signed my hat I'm wearing here tonight. He's from not far from where I grew up, so it's kind of exciting. The next driver is Carson Hocevar, who's joining the Spire team in their expansion, which last year he filled in at Legacy for the better part of the year after Gregson got kicked out of the car for his bad social media use. And he did pretty good in those races.
Bad social media use.
Yeah. So he did pretty good there, but again, I think Spire will be overstretching themselves because they're also adding in Zane Smith in a third charter there. So I think they're going to be kind of overtaxed, and they really weren't a front-running team to begin with. So I think all three of those cars are going to struggle, even including Corey LaJoy, who's been their consistent driver. Yes, they did get major sponsorship from Gamebridge, which is a giant investment company. They're pumping a lot more money into the team, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal and stuff. But Zane Smith was the top talent in the Ford camp, and it's kind of shocking that the Ford let him go to Chevy for this year. So, but yeah. And then some storylines I think are excited for this year over as a whole. Ford and Toyota both got new body styles this season. So they unveiled them last night. More crisper. They have a lot more flatter front end, which will help at the tracks. I think it'll help a lot more at Daytona, Talladega, where it's a flatter surface to push with, because the Toyota front ends previously, they were very rounded, very much like the Camry, kind of where there's kind of ready for rounded, and they had a lot of issues with cars not getting a good push off of those. Speaking of Toyota, Legacy Motor Club switching to Toyota from Chevy. That should be a big transition. They're actually a fully independent team. They don't have an alliance with 2311 and Joe Gibbs Racing, other two Toyota teams, which would be interesting because that's typically these teams, you always have some kind of alliance to another team, but they're going fully independent. But Jimmy Johnson didn't win 7 championships because he didn't know what he's doing. He kind of has a good sense of what he's doing. I'm excited to see what Kyle Busch has in his second year RCR. He had 3 wins last year, but struggled in the playoffs. I'm curious if he can bounce back, maybe get the 500 win, which he was so close to last year. I'm intrigued with Truex Jr. this year. He won the regular season, but proceeded to not do anything in the playoffs at all and only made it to the round of 8 because he had all the bonus points and playoff points from the year. I'm hoping to see next week, and I know Chu, who's in the chat earlier, is hoping for that Brad K can finally break his winless streak. He's gone over 2 years now without a win as an owner. His team won.
Big Brad K guy. K guy.
I'm the same way, and he's showed a lot of speed last year. His teammate and driver Buescher won 3 races last year, and Buescher made a deep push in the playoffs. I think he can probably do it at Daytona. They were fast there last year. They both led it a while. I'm just hoping when the white flag goes, it's Brad up front, Buescher in second, then their third car, David Reagan behind them pushing in a freight train. That's all I can hope to see. That another thing with coming back is Chase Elliott coming back after struggling last year from breaking his leg last year in the season. He never really had the same mojo and kind of struggled. I kind of think they were pushing too hard for wins later in the season to try to make the playoffs, and which didn't really work out. It's going to be interesting there.
Neil, on to Chase Elliott, I want to ask you real quick. Coming back from an injury like that, is there you think there's any sort of like mental hurdle he has to get over to where he trusts himself to? I mean, I know it's not like he's got a broken arm to make the turns right, but you got I'm assuming it's his pedal leg. So that plays into that racing, right? Do you think there's any sort of mental block he's got to jump?
I don't necessarily know. I think the more so was that he missed 6 weeks, and that's 6 weeks of points that he wasn't getting. I mean, his team was still being successful. They made the owner's playoff side, but I think towards the end of the year, instead of just going for consistent finishes, they were trying to go for home runs. For example, I know at Watkins Glen, they made a dumb move on fuel strategy, thinking they had 2 more laps than they did. It comes to find out there was no way on earth they had anywhere close to that, and because they were just trying to stretch for the win. Yeah, he ran out back at the bus stop on the back straightaway at the Glen. So I'm like, that's kind of bad. But we do have 2 drivers who are having their second chance in Cup, or I guess second and a half chance. John Hunter Nemechek is in his second stint with Legacy after doing a year about 3 years ago, he ran for a smaller team, kind of didn't do much and decided to take 2 years back, went down to the Truck Series, ran a year, dominated. Last year, ran Xfinity Series and dominated again, which was kind of good. And now he's got his move with Legacy with their Shift Toyota because he's the other one is Noah Gragson, who got fired last year from Legacy. It was given a second chance in the Stewart Haas 10 car and stuff. He's back. They really don't. I guess their attitude is we don't care what you did last year. We're moving on from that.
Second chances.
Oh yeah. And then the name, Chet, that you could not pronounce to save your life last year, Shane Van Gisbergen.
That's a tough one.
I know.
I'll have to learn it this year. Sounds like
he won the Chicago Street Course last year. He's coming over full time. Left Australian Supercars. Is running a full season in Xfinity and a part-time season in Cup. I think he's running 9 races with a split between road courses and some ovals. I think he's running both Talladega races to try to get more experience on these big tracks, which he obviously doesn't have, which should be exciting to see. Like, I'm intrigued to see what he did. Yes, he caught lightning in the bottle. Was at a track that he was the only one with any kind of experience on a street course in a stock car kind of thing. But it should be exciting. He's running the Xfinity at Daytona. I'll probably tune in for that and just to see what he can do. But, yeah, and I'm going to go on a limb here at my way too early Final Four.
Okay,
because I think it's you never know. I think it's gonna be Byron, Chastain, Bell, and Blaney.
No Van. Whatever.
He's not running in Cup this year, so full time. But
place your bets now, folks.
I think Byron's been hot. He was dominant all last year. Made the Final Four. Chastain's been good at Phoenix. He actually won the championship race at the actual race itself, but wasn't in the Final Four to count. Bell's been hot. He's made back-to-back Final Four. And then our reigning champ, I think he's kind of gotten over that hump and is just going to keep the momentum running and stuff. I would say Hamlin, but he always chokes his way through the end. But yeah,
no Truex Jr. You don't think he's going to get over
I think he'll have a good year. But we'll really kind of see. He did pretty good last night in the Clash. When I wasn't watching. I was keeping up on Twitter a little bit, But I don't know. I'm really intrigued. He's somebody. He is the oldest driver in the garage right now, and he's probably going to retire at the end of the year. So it's like it's going to depend.
They're getting slow. Gotta throw the grandpa back in the garage.
I mean, him and both. And Hamlin's at his peak right now.
You can keep letting them race. Just put a handicap placard up there.
Oh yeah. But something that I will say that y'all mentioned Full Swing earlier, the NASCAR version of that came out this week. I'm personally a huge fan of it. I binged it all in one day. I just got reassigned at work, and I was waiting on my access for my new work. I was like, I'm gonna sit here and watch it all day.
And that time to work.
Oh yeah, and it was
as well.
Oh, it was really good. They covered the playoffs last year, focused on different drivers behind the scenes. It was kind of cool with their outside lives, with their families. There were some funny moments. Hamlin's a big point of it because he told them, "I don't care what you film. If you ask me, and I say no." But he said this week, he's like, I didn't tell them no for anything. They wanted to ask me about something that they could. They filmed everything. Plus, being a driver owner, it was kind of a good kind of thing.
Yeah.
But,
interesting perspective on things. No, I've seen that on Netflix. I want to check it out. It's on my to-watch list.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good. Like it's kind of like for drivers, especially kind of like our Drive to Survive, right, which they've attempted in the past. But I think it's got a good blend of stuff for the casual new fan, so who wants to watch it, but it's also detailed enough for people like me who's been watching it for years, And I'm reading stuff online. I've read a lot of stuff new in some message boards I follow for NASCAR. New fans hopping on asking questions because they saw the show and wanted to learn more about it.
Growing the sport, growing the game.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it's all about.
It is.
Yeah. Go ahead, Neil, I got a couple questions for you. Well, first thing is growing NASCAR. I'm going to try, see what I can do. I'm going to try to make it to Talladega in April. So I don't know. It's a bucket list thing. I was like, something I've never been to before, and it's just like I want to do it. So
make sure you camp in the infield. or camp in some way, or at least camp somewhere.
Camp in the Hilton parking lot, Jacob.
There
Don't
we
even just
go.
go to
There
the
we
hotel.
go.
Yeah.
No, because or have somebody who doesn't drink because you need to party on the boulevard Saturday night. That's part of it.
Well, Steve is not a heavy drinker, so
Okay, there you go.
That'll work out.
Because the boulevard, which is the giant road in the middle of the infield, it's a giant block party Saturday night. I've never been. I've got a good friend of mine who's been. He goes twice. He goes every year, both races. I was trying to get my dad to go, but he wasn't really down to go for the fall one. So I'm like, I guess I'll wait another year. So,
but for my question, first question is there's a lot of I don't know, mixed feelings on. You mentioned the Ford car and the new design and everything with Toyota and their new design. There's a lot of mixed feelings on it. The Camry, I guess, has been around for a number of years, but I mean, it seems to me like the car has gotten smaller and it's starting to look less and less like the prototypical Camry. But your thoughts on the new design?
I like the new design personally because I think to me it helps them with the front end being flatter, which helps them pushing the bigger tracks like that. I think that's going to be a big advantage for them. Instead of that we are gone from the days of win on Sunday, sell on Monday. That's kind of been gone for years. The cars don't look anything like the production cars anymore. So to me, that doesn't really matter. It's more about the aero and how they'll affect the long run. And ends up being Toyota, this will help them a lot because when this car got developed 2 years ago, they made a bunch of last-minute changes that really hampered the Toyotas and their aero, and some of the changes they made last minute really restricted their ability to do. So this is their first chance to really do a big redesign now that this car has been kind of set design-wise. So I think it's going to help them a lot. Similar for Ford. Ford just unveiled that their new Mustang this year, which is why they're able to do it. I think it's the dark horse is what they call it, which it looks very similar. I like it. A buddy of mine said he thinks it's ugly. I think it looks good and runs good. So we'll know next week.
You're telling me they're racing with Toyota Camrys out there?
No, it's the body type. It's
very loosely.
It's to get the name out of there.
If I rented a Toyota Camry, it's the shittiest car I've ever driven. So you're telling me they're pushing that thing to 250 miles an hour on this track?
It's got the words on it.
No, I mean it's like the branding, like back in the day they were pretty similar style to it. But Jacob, I'll tell you though, when you go rent a scanner, do the rental on that. It's worth it. I bought mine last year. I love it. It makes the experience a whole lot better.
Huh. All right. And my last question is where am I at on getting the Home Depot car back? I mean, it's been so many years. I just want the Home Depot car.
Talk to your corporate. Talk to your corporate. Talk to your corporate.
We get a Sports Scramble car.
Oh.
Yeah. We'll make that happen.
Next time I make a trip to corporate, I'm having that conversation with somebody.
Do it.
There you go. Tyler, you had a question that you told me before the show that was pretty good.
Yeah, so if you're pretty much just like any of us, new to the sport, like what drivers should we be looking at this season? Maybe a dark horse.
This has been a question, again, all the new fans have been asking. To me, it kind of depends on personality wise. What do you kind of, to me, I'm a big fan of Truex Jr. He's a country kind of guy. Fishes all day.
I want someone that's flashy. It causes drama.
Denny Hamlin. Either Chastain or Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin has a new line. When he wins, he will. Last year at Bristol, he said he gets booed a lot. He's he plays like the heel in the sport kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. And
the villain.
And last year at Bristol, when he won, they booed him, and he said, "Oh yeah, that I ended up beating your favorite driver," and they go, "Who's that?" He goes, "All of them." And then he won again last night.
He's my guy.
Last night again, they again booed him, and he said, "Hey, why are you booing me? That all I did was beat your favorite driver again." It was a kind of cool kind of thing. It's amazing. He's a big part of that show. If you get around to watching, you'll kind of see him. He's also buddies with MJ, good friends with Michael Jordan and a bunch of other golfers. So he's kind of up your alley.
I watched him in a golf video. He sucks at golf. But yeah,
he has an interesting line though that he drops in the show talking about like the athlete side of this is that on any given day he could potentially end up making a better drive than some pro golfers or make a 3-point shot that Michael Jordan couldn't make. None of them could ever get in a car and run a faster lap than he could.
That's true.
That's fair.
It's like it's something like the things like none of these guys could hop in a car at Charlotte and make a faster lap than I can. But on any given day, I could make a better drive or a better putt than say Jordan Spieth or Justin Thomas, who he's good friends with.
But could you do it over and over again?
I'd like to see him hit a drive down with a gallery 10 yards wide, and you got fans lined out, and him not kill somebody. I don't know about that one, Denny Hamlin.
Hey, he does it every week with a car.
He's got my vote of confidence that I'm going to watch him this season.
Yeah, and he has his own podcast too, which I enjoy. He'll drop in the morning. I'm gonna listen to that first in the morning while I'm starting my work. He just nice to have him give his perspective on stuff. He does a good job with it. He's kind of funny, goofy. But he's also really, really accomplished. He's won 3 Daytona 500s, 2 Southern 500s. He's won every crown jewel, I think, twice, except the Brickyard, which hopefully he can get that this year, maybe, and knock his last crown jewel off the list. Over 50 wins, but no championships. But the dude's still a first ballot Hall of Famer.